Welcome to Game Crunch, your weekly video game podcast. My name is Mike Anastasia, and with me today we have Nick.
Yep.
And Brandon.
Yo!
We're here to talk about games and things.
Some things of games.
Yeah. And some news.
Gamey games, thingy things.
And then, yeah. Brandon's going to be carrying the podcast today because he's played almost everything.
Oh, not only that, but, we got the results from last week's poll back, too, didn't we, boys? Didn't we,
whatever
boys?
you scam artist.
Didn't we, boys?
I mean, listen.
You guys wanna read the results out real quick?
Just because they're the results doesn't mean that they're the best results. You remember?
I'm pretty sure they are.
Well, no, because we didn't go advertising to, the Mario Wiki crowd.
I absolutely didn't. I retweeted it one time, and then it just happened.
So I ignored that. Did we get the whole Mario Wiki on us?
No, you didn't.
Yeah, pretty much.
You didn't? Oh, so only 31 people exist in the Mario Wiki?
The dedicated one.
Alright, come on.
There's
Yeah.
You even had that conversation with the one guy that was like, this is the reason why you're wrong. And you're like, I see. But I don't care what you're saying.
Okay. No, the one guy never responded back to me when I actually gave our actual defense. Another one I gave it to was like, oh, when you explain it like that, I would have changed my vote. So
Show me that guy.
It was in there. Go look at the thread.
I'm looking. I'm not seeing.
It's in there. Anyways, on to real news.
The spin-offs still have Mario in the name, so I would consider them honestly. Yoshi and Wario, not so much.
So
Usually
Mario
I would categorize those as I don't think it's very fair to compare platformers to kart racers and such.
Exactly.
But he's talking about the Yoshi and the Wario. He's saying
he
the
was
spin-offs,
talking about those.
the spin-offs still have the Mario in the name, so I would consider them. Spin-offs still have Mario in the name, so I would consider them, honestly.
So, like I said, Mario Paint and Mario is missing.
Yeah.
Mario is missing would be technically a Mario game, but
really the way that we should have done this is we should have asked people what for their top 5 Mario games were and see how many people actually included them in their list. And that's how we would have gotten the definitive answer.
Yeah, that's true.
Mm-hmm.
You guys just gotta continue trying to be right when you've already been proven wrong, but it's okay.
We'll was a faulty study, Brandon. It happens.
It was a faulty
even
study.
To the best scientists.
That's all right. You're already wrong, and you just won't accept it. I mean, you guys are acting like Republicans.
We're just gonna recount the votes until it's the way it's supposed to be.
I'm gonna pay off enough people to fly.
All right, that was way too political of a joke. Get that shit out of here. I'm so sorry.
You want to be like that? That's what happens, Brandon.
I don't like talking about politics, but that joke just came out because the way you guys were acting.
Fair.
Anyways, guess what? Guess who gets to go first this week, Brandon?
Is it me?
Yeah, well, you had most of the games. I only have Miitopia to talk about again. So, yeah. You're the only person with new games, so you get to go first.
I would like to take one moment to say something before we continue.
Okay.
I did look into the whole Sonic and Sega All-Stars Racing thing, and there are a lot more crossover characters, seeing as though it is Sonic and Sega. You guys are right about that, and I do concede in that specific point that you are right. That was not a Sonic game. You're correct.
Well,
that's not one of the text messages that I got.
That threw you off?
Yeah, that one killed me. I forgot how many crossover characters were in that game, and it made me laugh my ass off.
Well, Danica Patrick is my favorite Sonic character.
If that wasn't last week's title, it should have been.
Well, it could be this week's now, because we just reintroduced the joke.
Anyway, moving on from that. Yeah, I played a lot of games. And I want to talk about a few of them. Because I didn't play a lot of the games, I just played a lot of different games.
Okay.
Alright, so my friend messaged me last week, because I'd been mentioning that I wanted to try out Biomutant, and he was like, hey man, I subscribed to Epic EA Plus whatever subscription just so I could play this game. But I can find no joy in this game. I am not enjoying it in any way, shape, or form. So here's my account information. See if you can find some joy in it. As he didn't want his subscription to go to waste, is what he told me. So I said, okay, I'll give it a go. So I installed Biomutant and I played it maybe about 2 or 3 hours. And this is one of the weirdest games I've played in a very, very long time.
Okay.
I don't hate this game. I don't like this game. This game isn't good, but it isn't bad. It's just confusing. So essentially what this is it feels like an open world kind of game that also has like MMO kind of quest. And it wants you to explore the world and do all this and that, but there's like not that much to the world, but it has a lot of world space to cover, but there's like not much in the space. It feels like they had a great idea for a game and then they just didn't have time to finish making it. When you look at it, and what I've found so far is I think it was made by 25 people. So this is a massive project that's very experimental, made by a very small team, and it shows. And I feel like this is one of those games that has so many good ideas, but not the technological know-how or manpower to pull off those good ideas. So a few of the things about Biomutant, as your little creature evolves and mutates, like you're able to do different things and get different powers and that sort of thing, and you're able to like build your character that sort of way. So you got like a kind of like Mass Effect thing going on, but like you actually mutate and change up your character's form and stuff based on how you proceed in the game, which is a very interesting idea. And another really cool idea about this game is it's all about melee for the close combat, and then like using ranged for when like you don't want to get up close to like a boss or something and that sort of thing. But every weapon that you collect, you can like take apart and outfit different pieces of it to like change up its weapon properties and everything. There are really, really interesting ideas in this game, but the people that made it are they're not quite there yet. Like, this could be a fantastic game, but there's plenty of little things that hold it back. It tells its story via like flashbacks that you have to play through that are tutorials that just interrupt the flow of gameplay and feel very unnatural. So like even like 3 hours in, I was still getting tutorials for the game, and I was just like, all right, okay. And a little bit of the like UI and the weapon customization and the character customization, like it can be overwhelming the way it's designed. So like everything they did here in the game is a good idea on paper, and in some cases even works in the game, but it's very amateurish. You can tell that it is. And this is being sold as a $60 title, which is honestly, in my opinion, not okay. Like, yeah, sure, you can decide how you want your game to be sold and that sort of thing. I think if this was like a $40 game or even a $30 game, this would be a lot more easy to stomach. And I think it could even like have like a cult classic kind of vibe to it, and people would probably be a lot more like receptive to the game and its new and different ideas, which make it an interesting title. But it's not. It's a $60 title, you know, and it doesn't look or play like one. It plays like something amateurish that has a lot of really interesting and different ideas that you wouldn't see in your normal AAA games, but it just doesn't know how to execute them correctly. And it's a shame because it's actually pretty good. Like, it has moments where it's even kind of incredible, but those moments are few and far between. And like I said, it's very obvious that this was stretched very thin with very few people. And I think this is their first ever title that they've ever made. So, yeah. And it has this thing where none of the characters you play as, because they all look like mascot characters, like animal mascots, basically. They all look like something you'd see in like your Jack and Dexter's or your Ratchet and Clanks, but they're just like furry animal creature things that you've created and look like maybe a rabbit or a dog or a wolf hybrid, those sort of things. And because of that, they don't speak English, this is one thing that a lot of people docked off for the game just in general. They speak their own language and they actually say their own language out loud. And then you have a narrator who tells you what they just said, which gets a little grating over time because it feels like you're being told a storybook, but you're also having to listen to the made-up language from the storybook characters while you're being told that story, and it's a little hit and miss here and there. There's some really good ideas, but it's not quite there. And I really want to see what this developer does in the future, or if they like spruce this up and try to like change it about and everything, because it's a very cool title with a lot of really cool ideas, but it's just not worth $60 at this point in time, and it's not in a state where I would say that it's a particularly good game.
Mhm.
It's not awful, but it's there. It exists.
But,
If that makes any sense.
I don't know if you saw, they put out an update. I think, I don't know if it was today or like within the
Mhm.
last day or so, where you can actually turn off the narrator.
That would
Oh.
make things even worse, because then you wouldn't understand any of the plot.
Oh.
Because
Not
they're
like
speaking.
subtitles?
No, it's the narrator is the subtitles. So if you like turn off the subtitles,
Yikes.
then it's just animalese, basically. You know what I mean?
Well, I figured he was talking about turning off the animalese. Is that what you mean, Nick, or don't you know?
No, he said the narrator.
No, turning off the narrator.
Oh, I don't know. No
Unless
clue.
maybe there's like more to it than that. I don't know.
Maybe they just turn off the voice and then they have the subtitles of what the narrator's saying, but that still doesn't fix the problem, really.
Okay.
You know, I don't know. It's the core design of the game that's the problem, and the fact that it feels very empty and open while being a vast and very big, expansive world. Like you don't really see that many mobs or enemies around unless you're following the beaten path. But if you go off the beaten path, you can find really cool like items and like dumpsters and in decrepit buildings and that sort of thing that you can use to make new weapons, and that shit's neat. And you can like take parts and scrap and stuff and like stick it on your body and like craft like better armor by doing
Mhm.
that. Like you find like a garbage can lid, you can just like fucking shove that on your chest and now you've got better armor because of it. It's neat stuff like that make it a really interesting game. But then like I mentioned with the tutorials and the constantly like having stuff explained to you by the narrator, but it wouldn't make sense if he wasn't explaining it, and this, that, and the other. And with it feeling like few and far between those moments that are really cool, that's the issue with the game. So, like, I think if they had another go and they had more time, they could make something like special. Like, they could make a really good game because these people have great ideas. They probably just didn't have the time to make what they wanted.
So I was watching somebody stream this game, and something that was really off-putting to me was I saw that there was like comic book effects.
Yes.
Like, so when you would smack something, it'd be like pow, biff,
Ow.
bam.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That shit, why? Like, why is that a thing?
I think it's just another one of those, like, just being different, but not always. I think it's supposed to be a storybook, because you know how the narrator is
Mhm.
doing that sort of thing. Or maybe it is a graphic novel, and that would make sense of the narrator yet again there. And I don't really know why the POW and that sort of thing is there. Like, because, yeah, you got the pew pew, and also whenever you, like, fire your gun and that sort of thing.
That's
So, the only thing I can think of is it's being told to us like it's a story, so maybe it's like a graphic novel, or supposed to be like one. That's the only thing I can think of. But even so, it does feel off and doesn't feel natural compared to the rest of the art design of the game. So, yeah, it's like people, they have good ideas, they just don't implement them right. And that's just another example of that happening.
Okay.
All right, now I'm going to talk about something weird as well, because I'm just going to go from weird to, like, not
Weirder?
weird. Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
All right, next weird thing. This is probably the first one I should have opened up with, actually. Anyone heard of Blankos Block Party?
No.
All right. So this is a game that I've been seeing for a while now. You see the ads for it online everywhere. It is the first ever like free-to-play game that is also, I can't believe I'm going to say this, and don't worry, I didn't spend money on it. I just stayed free-to-play.
Mm-hmm.
An interactive NFT. And I
What is
hate
that?
NFTs.
Okay.
They're stupid. They're dumb, and I hate them. But essentially what this game is think of something like you create your own world, so something like a creative mode in Minecraft, or a creative mode in Fortnite, or a creative mode just anywhere where you make your own game out of it, and that sort of thing, and then you play that game, or people have uploaded their game modes that you can play into the game servers, and yada yada yada, blah blah blah. And what makes this different is I think every week, yeah, I even got an email here, so they're trying to sell it to me. If you go and look on the site for Blankos Block Party, they sell like designer toys, like like those toys that are made by like the graffiti artist and that sort of thing. You know what I'm talking about, Nick? Like they like stand straight up, and those. That the game is based around those. And the graffiti artist and the people that make those toys in real life have made specific ones for this game as well. And they only sell so many of them, and they are tied to your account. And once the first 4,000 are gone, they don't ever go back into production.
Okay.
So it's literally like an NFT that they sell, and once you own that Blanco, or whatever they're calling, I don't know what the fuck they're calling them. Once you own that, you own that. So like it's yours. You have number blank out of 4,000, that sort of thing. And it's stupid and it's dumb, and the little games that they have in there range from like it looks like a poor man's version of Fall Guys. It's not Fall Guys, but it's like take like the games you can make with like Little Big Planet or Mario Maker, those kind of games things, or Minecraft or whatever, and then like make those games that you can play, but like you're able to also purchase things from designer like artists and painters and stuff, and you actually own not a physical, but a digital copy of that, and you have like a certain number of them. It's really stupid.
Okay.
I don't think it's a good idea. I don't think it's going to end up being like a big thing. I'm actually going to show you guys here if you look in general chat. If you look at the shop, you'll see Bullseye, which released today. There are 4,000 of them. You buy them with real money for $20. You can only have up to 25 of them. Once these are gone, they never come back.
You can sell them.
Yes, I believe.
So I mean, it kind of. I'm not gonna say are they through blockchain?
Yes.
Oh, so they're not like NFTs. They are NFTs.
They are NFTs. Yes.
So it's an NFT.
Basically,
game.
it's like digital toys to life.
Kind of.
Okay.
Yeah, so like the game that they have designed around it, I mean, it works. It's fine, and like it's just really weird that they're trying to make a NFT game. If you go,
because literally, I don't know if you've ever been to like an NFT website to see what they sell as NFTs.
Mm-hmm.
It's all fucking weird.
True.
All of it is weird.
No, you're right. It is all very weird, but like
this is the most useful NFT I've seen to date.
It is. That was another thing I was gonna say. It's weird in a way because like the game that's built around it just feels like a game that's made to sell these NFTs. Like it feels very bare bones, that sort of deal, but it's just here to sell these NFTs. And I get it. I get the NFT thing. And well, I mean, like I don't get it. Obviously, NFTs are stupid in my opinion, but
Nobody
I get why.
NFTs.
Yeah, I get why someone would want like these in a game. Like if it was like, for instance, like a skin that you would get in like
Well, it's kind of
Apex,
like
for
the way
instance.
I was gonna say the way I see it is like more so. I guess in your wheelhouse, it would be like CS:GO. Where you
It
can
would be
buy
like
and sell
CS:GO.
skins.
Yeah.
The only difference is CS:GO doesn't use blockchain to do that kind of a thing. And I've always like been okay with having some sort of digital storefront to maybe buy and sell like skins and stuff like that, because like I mean you said Apex, like Apex especially, there's like a lot of skins that you can't get, like they're one-time event skins, and like I'd like to sell some of those skins for money because like I don't want some of them, but I unlock them. So like to make money off of that would be cool, but like the whole NFT portion of this, I'm just kind of like,
Yeah,
no.
I just think
This is weird.
It's too early, and this is really weird. And like when you actually are in the game and playing it, you can really feel like just how disconnected from the general idea the game itself is. So it's like, okay then. And Yeah, like they give you just like a blank one if you're not paying money and buying an NFT, so you're able to play the game itself still. Which the game itself, like I said, it's fine. It's just odd. So
Okay.
I'm gonna actually check because I think you can sell this.
Okay.
Can I sell my Blanco? No.
You can't sell them.
Hold on. No. You can't sell Blanco bucks. You can sell items you purchase with Blanco bucks once our marketplace is made available. So the marketplace is not available yet. So you can buy
theoretically,
these...
yes.
Yes. So theoretically, once their marketplace goes live, you can sell the NFTs that you've purchased.
All right, burning question.
Yeah.
Can you bring your own NFTs into the game?
No, they're all made by like graphic designers and by like what's the word I'm looking for? Like those artists that do things like graffiti or like those like really rough looking things. Hold on, I gotta find.
Because I mean, it'd be pretty great to spend, $800,000 on a meme and then just import the meme into the game. Be like, oh look, get David goes to the dentist.
Oh my god!
Didn't they sell that recently?
Yeah, it was like $800,000.
That's so dumb.
I think it was like $750. I mean, it was still something ridiculous.
Oh yeah, like Kid Robot toys, for instance. Like, you know what I'm talking about when I say Kid Robot.
Yeah.
Like those. It's like those, and the artists that do those toys are the ones making the Blankos that are blockchain and tradable once the thing goes live.
I don't know, it's really hard for me to talk about that kind of shit. Because, at the same time, what are people who do that same shit with, Funko Pops, right?
Oh, no, I get that.
It's all kind of the same shit. So...
But, this is not a physical good. It's, digital. Which is where I'm this is weird. I don't know how this is gonna go, more or less. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I look at the physical toys and I'm like, yo, these look kind of sick. I'm totally down for these.
Display those,
Yeah. But then I look at the digital ones. It's like, if I play this game that very few people are playing or even know about, then I can get these special artist design Kid Robot toys that are inside of a game that no one plays or even knows about. And it's when you look at it like that, it's is it a hipster thing?
Maybe.
I don't even know.
Hipster thing.
It really does. But yeah. So yeah, I played that, and I mean it's fine. The game itself that it's built around is totally fine. I'll go on to the next game because I don't really have much to say about it. I think it's just weird, the whole blockchain and.
That's an interesting idea.
Mm-hmm. All right, so moving on from that, I have Shin Megami Tensei 3 Nocturne HD Remaster. That's a really long title. I have not killed God yet.
Okay.
Yeah, I know. We're getting there. No,
Is
actually,
Dante on your team yet?
No, because I refuse to pay an extra fucking $20 to get Dante. Yeah. This is my favorite Shin Megami Tensei game. So I'm gonna judge this from a remaster standpoint, and it's fine. They don't really do that much. It's 1080p now, and also it's got some voice acting where it didn't before, and the voice acting's fine. I just wanted to be able to play this on a modern system, I'm gonna be completely honest. And they gave me what I wanted, so there you go. It's good. And if you've never played Shin Megami Tensei Nocturne, I recommend that you play Shin Megami Tensei Nocturne. Because it's better than Persona, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
And I like Persona, so saying that Shin Megami Tensei Nocturne is better than Persona isn't knocking Persona. It's just telling you just how good Shin Megami Tensei Nocturne is,
Yeah,
so there's that. So yeah, I highly recommend that. If you don't know anything about the game, I'll give you a very short, just a tutorial sort of deal. So it's believed that there's this kind of cult that's trying to bring about the end of the Earth, that sort of deal, a doomsday cult, more or less. And then they actually succeed, and the rest of the game is you playing through the aftermath of what happened after the Earth is ended. So it's a very interesting game. And you can befriend the demons and monsters that walk the Earth now, and like when you befriend them, they'll join your team. So kind of like Pokemon, that sort of deal. And yeah, it's a really, really good game. Definitely worth your time.
Okay, I mean it's good.
And the
I've
last
always heard it's
game,
a good game.
oh yeah, it's phenomenal. And the last game that I'm going to talk about is Graven.
Gravy?
Graven. So
That's a Raven.
yeah, that's so
That's so
Graven.
Graven.
So Graven is a weird one. I've been looking forward to this for quite a while, but this is gonna be me complaining.
Okay.
Rightfully so. So I got to play during the Summer of Games last year a demo for Graven that was really rather good. What Graven is take your games like Haven, which was a
Even in
first.
Graven?
Yeah. It's done on purpose. It's 100% done on purpose. So it's basically a medieval version of Doom, that sort of deal, with like spells and magic and yada yada blah blah blah, crossbows, creepy demon monster thingies, undead, that sort of stuff, in an open world, like hub-based open world sort of deal. So yeah, when I played the demo last year, there were a lot of really interesting weapons that you could use in the game, and it was actually rather cool. And it had some good magic. Like the magic in the game, the magic system worked rather well. Here's the problem. You know, when you play a demo,
Okay. Yes. Yeah.
yeah, you expect that when you play the game, it's going to be as good as that demo, if not better.
Fair.
Yeah.
That's
You're
fair.
at least expecting those parts of the demo in the game when it comes out and becomes a paid product. Isn't that like correct? Like I should expect that portion of the demo to be part of the paid $30 product, right? Even if it is early access, they already had the demo. You know, it already existed. It was already made. It was already played by me. Why is it that now that I've spent money on your game when I paid money for it is worse than your demo? They changed the magic system. A lot of the weapons that were in the demo are no longer in the same place, and you can't even get them in the paid version currently. Granted, it is early access, but they're like, oh, we decided to move those weapons to later in the game. It's past the point of the early access portion that we've given you so far, which the early access portion that they've given you is basically just the demo with extra steps. So they've turned around and they're now charging for that same demo that they gave people a while back. And they added some extra areas, but they also took away a lot of stuff and changed the magic system completely from what they used to sell the game last year. Instead of actually using the magic system to like battle enemies and that sort of thing, it's now used to solve puzzles, and the puzzles are super rudimentary and they don't really add anything to the game, in my opinion. And it's just worse than the demo in every way, shape, and form. They took away so much stuff, and they changed the magic system from being powers that you battle with to things you solve puzzles with, and it really has made the game overall a worse product because of this. Now, I will say this. I'm very happy that I got this during the Epic Games sale, where any game that's over $14.99, you get $10 off of it. So I was able to get this for $12 instead of $24.99 like it is on Steam. So there's that. But if I paid full price, like the $30 or $24.99 or whatever, if I paid that, I would feel absolutely ripped off. And even paying the $12, I feel absolutely ripped off. Because what they sold this game as last year is not the same game they're selling now. And it's not right.
Bummer.
It really sucks. So I'm just honestly here to complain about that right now, because it could have been so much more. Now,
Did you refund it?
I can't.
That's Epic.
I bought
It's
it
not
through
Steam.
Epic. Yeah, you got to jump through a lot more hoops. That's why I said it's not as bad since I only lost $12, and
Yeah.
it is early access, so they'll add more to it in the future, hopefully. But right now, in its current state, it kind of sucks. And they already do have like a roadmap that they've put out, so that's good. So I'm hoping that it's just a matter of we wanted to put this out and get the money flowing so we could continue working on it, and not a matter of we've put this out and now we've got your money. See you, suckers. Because like I already feel super baited and switched due to this being worse than the demo that I didn't pay for and played last year. So there's that.
That's fair.
The first patch actually came out yesterday, so they might already be fixing some things, but we'll see how it goes. So right now I'm not very happy with it. That's all I'll leave that at. And yeah, those are the games and things I've been playing. I also watched a pay-per-view this weekend, and it was fan-fucking-tastic. It was good to see a pay-per-view where the fans were back in the stands, and it looked so good, and it was so much fun. Yeah.
Nice.
That's it. That's all I've got to say. I'm done. Bye-bye.
All right. I'll talk about what I've been playing then. I am pretty much done with Miitopia at this point. I mean, I think I'm done with it. But I finished the main story for it, and I checked my time like yesterday, and I think it said I clocked over 55 hours on it.
Okay.
That's a good chunk of time, and I really enjoyed my time with it. Once you finish it, there's like, you finish the story, then there's like a post-game thing, but it's not really like story. It's just kind of like, here's some new areas to explore and some like difficulty things. So I went through the two main areas, and then I got to these two like back-to-back, two towers with like back-to-back like just difficult enemy fights. And I got through the first one, and I guess that one was in the Miitopia for the 3DS. And the second one is new to the Switch, and it is just stupid. So I think this is my end point for the game. So it's just, what is it? Like the game maxes out at like level 50, and my characters went in there at like level 45 and just got wiped. And I was like, I'm like, what do you get for beating this? An achievement. Okay, well, I don't know if it's worth the time to finish leveling up the characters to do this. Because I'm like, if I was getting something, maybe, but just a good old pat on the back, I'm like, I don't know.
Here's an achievement.
Yeah, yay. Which, I mean, those don't even get you anything either, like for getting them all. So it's just like, I don't know. I mean, like I said, I got through the big story of it. I unlocked all the character classes. I leveled up a bunch of the characters to see a bunch of the different things. So at this point, do I really feel like grinding the characters like an insane amount to get through this? And I'm pretty sure the answer is no. But the sad thing is like, I don't feel like I'm done with the game. You know what I mean? Do you ever have games where you guys feel like that? Where it's like, you're done with it, you're not going to go any further, but you still kind of want to do more? It's just kind of where I am on it. But yeah, I mean, I had a really good time with it. It kind of blows my mind though, because it is like super simplistic like game, but I've just been enjoying it just immensely. And I think part of it, like I said, it's just because you end up creating your own story through doing it. So that part's just kind of entertaining. It's like, oh, this person I knew fell in love with the horse. Isn't that funny? I don't know. But it is a really charming game. I think people would enjoy it, and I do think it's something that actually like, if they wanted to put the time in to like do a sequel for, I think they should. I mean, I definitely think that there is. I'm curious to see how it does on the Switch, because I think it's definitely got overlooked on the 3DS because it came out so late, and because I'm pretty sure it came out after the Switch, to be honest. But yeah, it's interesting game. It built on what Tamagotchi Life had, which a lot of people really enjoyed, and just added that RPG mechanic. And even though it wasn't like a super deep RPG mechanic, it's just interesting. So I think they could do something fun with it and build up something else. Because if there's anything we've seen with what Nintendo's been doing, like a lot of their user generated like stuff, ends up being entertaining. And we talked about it last week. The Miis that people made, super cool. They're really cool stuff there. So who knows? I'd be curious to see, let's say, how this does, and if they're planning on doing anything else with it. And I kind of wonder if they're taking the time to port it over to the Switch. Maybe they are. Maybe they're like, hey, we'd like to do more with the Miis and other things. So if you think about other stuff that Miis are big on, like big Mii games, like we still haven't seen like any of the sports stuff, like Wii Sports. You can do it with the Switch stuff. So I mean, I don't know why they don't have them on there. They were always super popular on the Wii. So I don't know. But I enjoyed it. I recommend it. I think it was $50 for a game. So and like I said, I put close to 60 hours into it. So definitely worth checking out if you think of something that you're interested in. And the demo is pretty hefty too. Like if you want to try that out. I did finally see like my game time for the demo, and it was something like 3 or 4 hours. So there's definitely like it's a good chunk of time for a demo. So that is that. Unless you guys had any other questions about Miitopia you wanted to, any burning questions you wanted answered.
No.
All right, you guys ready to move? All right, well, I just asked. Nick, do you have anything you want to talk about?
I did watch something.
Oh yeah, what did you watch?
If you're familiar with the comedian Bo Burnham, I watched his new special on Netflix.
Whoa, he has one? What?
How is that? Yeah, no, they just had to come out. Actually, just while Brandon was talking, I just randomly saw a news thing pop up about his special again. I still haven't watched it, but
it's fantastic.
Oh my god, that's fantastic.
It's so it's completely shot and edited and done by him. Just it's about him basically. It's the perfect pandemic movie. There should never be a pandemic movie about the pandemic and just use this, because it just kind of shows like his how spiraling his mental state gets during the whole thing. And I think a lot of people can relate to it. But no, there's like a lot of really funny songs. Some of the songs that I like in particular that he performs, he has one that's just called "White Woman Instagram." And he's just like mocking how white women post on Instagram the whole time. There's a really hilarious song about sexting that I enjoyed. But like the shots and the production on it are just so fucking good. The songs are phenomenal. Like it's just super enjoyable from a production standpoint. And then like you get the music and everything else. But I liked it a lot. I watched it yesterday. It's an hour and a half long. And it's really good. He's one of my favorite comedians. So
he is hilarious.
Yeah,
I think he only has 2 other stand-up specials. I watched both of them. I liked one and I didn't like the other one.
So his first one's called What? That one's good. That one, although I will say, is a bit, looking back on it now, a bit cringy. Make Happy is his second one. Hilarious. I think that's the one that has prolonged eye contact in it as a song.
Prolonged eye contact.
I'm so sad. I posted that on my Twitter the other day because I was like me when I see the homies in person again, and it was the song Prolonged Eye Contact. And at one point, he starts like rubbing on his dick and shit. And I'm just like, that's going to be me when I see the homies again after quarantine. So like, there's a lot of fun stuff in that one. But this one is a more... There's a lot of funny parts of this. Like there will be times where you laugh, but it's also a very deep and like kind of self-reflective experience on him. Mostly because it's like he talks about, as he usually does. Like I feel like his other 2 specials, his second one more so, kind of delved more into his own mental health kind of issues, and this one goes even deeper into that hole. Because at one point there's a song that he's singing where. He's talking about how he retired from live performing for the past 5 years because he was having like anxiety and panic attacks on stage. And finally in the year 2020, he was like, you know what? I'm ready to get back at it again. And then the pandemic happened. So it's like, it's funny, but at the same time, it's like, oh shit. It's like, there's a aspect to what's happened over the past 18 months or so that people don't realize, where like a lot of people maybe have finally gotten to a good place like mentally, and then all of that just got fucked up because we had to, shelter in place. But it is on Netflix. I would recommend watching it. It is very good. I enjoyed it very much so.
It's good. I'll definitely have to check it out.
Yeah.
So I actually would also recommend his 2010 special if you don't mind.
What?
A little bit. Yeah, you never seen his 2010 special?
Yeah, it's called
Words? No, that's 2013.
Words. Yeah, I've seen
before
Words,
he
Words.
became Netflix's poster child.
Yeah, no, I've seen Words. That one's a bit.
That's a little bit.
Yeah.
Back when comedy still existed. All right.
Yeah, I do remember this one. I think that was his like original Comedy Central special.
No, he had a Comedy Central special before that.
Before that. Oh, okay.
2009.
Gotcha.
So Words Towards Words is the album he released after he did a Comedy Central special, and it was an album he produced through Comedy Central that was based off of his songs he was doing on his YouTube channel. I've actually followed him all the way back since he was just a YouTube comedian.
Yeah.
I was a fan of Bo Burnham before he was popular. I just want you guys to
know. No, that's not what I'm doing. I'm just saying.
I know.
If you don't mind things that are a bit triggering nowadays, his YouTube stuff is actually fucking hilarious. But not for the PC crowd at all. But he's very fun.
I think with stuff of that too, you'll enjoy some of the songs he has on this new special too. Because my absolute favorite, and I forgot to talk about it somehow, is there's like a part where he is like talking about being a brand manager, and he's like, it's not enough just to sell wheat thins anymore. Where does wheat thins stand on socioeconomic issues? How does wheat thins feel about the human condition? And I was just like, this is hilarious. If it wasn't so like spot on. He also has a Twitch joke at one point too, where he's like pretending to live stream, and it's hilarious.
Is this the one that's filmed inside his own house?
Yes, it's called
Nice.
Inside, yeah.
Okay, nice.
Yeah, no, literally, it's fantastic.
I saw like a video like preview thing for this back in like early May, but I didn't know he was releasing it already.
Yeah, it finally came out. So, yep. But that's the only thing I mean, like, you know, my normal Apex grind. I've been playing that. There were some cool skins that came out during a Flash event that I got. But besides that, have I really played this? No, not really.
I just saw a tweet. This person's super excited they got Pokemon Green in the mail, and everyone in the comments like, you do know that's fake, right?
That's a shame.
They're just like, look what came in the mail. Yeah, be jealous. And everyone's like, that's a bootleg.
Oh, I was at round 1 again this weekend, and I was playing a bunch of games.
Yeah, I saw you played that
Rhythm.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, it's an arcade machine there.
I didn't know it was an arcade machine. I only ever played it on DS.
That was the only time I really played, and I was at the arcade. So
How does it play on an arcade machine?
Bit of that. Yeah, it plays actually really, really fucking good. So I have a lot of fun with it. I usually will play that for like straight up 20-30 minutes while I'm there, minimum.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but yeah, that was my time. That's what I did.
All right.
You guys ready to go on the news?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, it hasn't happened yet, but the Switch Pro announcement's still imminent.
Apparently. Allegedly.
It's like a dam bursting now. It's
Apparently
like crazy.
Supposedly it'll be announced tomorrow.
That's what they all say. You know what though?
Yeah.
I just saw like some of the people who are like tweeting about it before, like, oh, it's coming out any second. Now they're like, well, maybe not. Maybe during E3, maybe after E3. I don't know anymore. Like, Jesus Christ. I mean, it's like, I know your information's not like always set in stone, but you seemed really confident about it a couple days ago, and now you're like just backtracking it to like way like unknown. So I don't know. There is that, but on the other side, there is the SKUs are showing up everywhere now, because there was that one Mexican retailer. I don't remember who it was.
It was Amazon.
Was it Amazon?
Amazon Mexico. Yeah, I sent you guys a link to it.
There's that. There's SKUs in like Best Buy.
GameStop has them. I had a friend that told me that they had something Nintendo related that they can't talk about in their SKUs show up. So
yeah, so I mean, it's definitely like any minute that's supposed to drop. Like,
we're just gonna end this podcast, and then immediately there'll be a trailer for it.
Probably. Because they did put out a tweet. Was it yesterday?
Mm-hmm.
That their E3 showcase is happening on June 15th, and it's roughly 40 minutes of info focused exclusively on Nintendo Switch software.
Yeah.
Mostly releasing in 2020. So I thought it was weird to specifically write Nintendo Switch software.
Mm-hmm.
Because like that's always the assumption, right? Like whenever we go and like this presser for Microsoft, right? we're assuming it's all just Xbox games. Like, we're not
Mhm.
assuming any hardware. So, like, Microsoft wouldn't be like, hey, come watch our 3-hour showcase, exclusive Xbox software shit. Like, well,
Mhm.
that's kind of a given. So, I feel like maybe that's the case. Like, maybe, like, the week of or whatever, we'll get a Switch Pro announcement, and then, we'll go on from there. But honestly, at this point, either they need to confirm it or deny it, because it's annoying to see these fucking articles every week and it
Oh yeah.
just not come to anything.
Well, I mean, they're at like a point where it's like, if they don't leak it, it will get leaked if it has not already been fully leaked. Like the things that if it's not already in production, it will be soon. So once it gets out to production, like it's definitely leaked at that point.
Yeah.
Like you can't. You might be able to stop your internal stuff, but once it goes external like that, like all bets are off. So you have that. You have obviously you've already briefed your retailers on it though, so you're a lot closer to announcing it than you're pretending to be. But I mean, just even the other side of it too with E3, like third parties are going to be making stuff for it. They're going to want to talk about it. So if the stuff doesn't intentionally, it's going to get leaked out by them, maybe even unintentionally through assets, or even you have stuff like, what was it? The press will get access to Nintendo's retail site next Monday.
Mhm.
So you have that coming up. Well, I said next Monday. I'm getting my days confused. It's the 11th, I believe. So it's like a week from Monday.
That would be a week from tomorrow.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So next week, but before E3.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I mean, we could see some things leak out from there.
Yeah.
So I mean, if that's the case, then maybe this week will be that, because if that's going to be on the website and they're like, well, it's going to leak out, so we better announce it. Maybe we'll know about that.
Even so some of these SKUs supposedly are opening up at midnight tonight. Okay. I guess is what people are saying. I mean, who knows? But I mean, just to put it like to juxtapose it with the Switch Lite. Switch Lite was like just dropped in a tweet at 8:30 p.m. on a random night. So
yeah, but I think the Switch Lite isn't as high a profile a thing as the more powerful Switch.
Oh,
whatever
great.
It might be called.
Mm-hmm.
Although Nintendo is weird, where they'll just be like, "Hey, and thing," like how they randomly just drop the release dates for all the Pokemon games.
Yep, exactly, and it's just like,
yeah.
I mean, how much time do they really need to spend on the hardware? It depends on how much different features they're putting into it. But with E3 coming up next week, they can always just, drop a video, say it's coming, and then, that gives third parties the opportunity to talk about it or whatever. And then they can talk about it themselves. Because along with their E3 showing next week, they also have 3 hours of Treehouse coming up right after that.
A lot of time.
Yeah. But then the one last point that I have, which I know I brought up multiple times because it still pissed me off, was, what was it, a couple years ago? It was like with I think it was the 3DS XL, and like it was the same kind of thing, like literally bursting the seams. Everyone knew about it, even though Nintendo wouldn't admit it. And they were at E3, and like someone from the press, like point blank, asked Miyamoto, "Where's the 3DS XL?" And he's like, "Oh, that's a great idea. We don't have anything like that in development." And literally the week after E3, they unveiled it. So it's just like, okay, these motherfuckers, you can ask them right to their face, and say it doesn't exist, and then they're gonna sit on it and just drop it, even though everyone knows it's coming. It's just they want to do it on their own time, and they're gonna do it on their own time, and it is what it is. But at this point, though, if they don't get ahead of it, it's gonna leak itself, and it's just gonna, it's now is the best time to do it because people are hyped for it. Like once it's leaked, then who cares? Unless something didn't get leaked. I don't know. So yeah. So
we'll see.
Yeah. Maybe by next podcast.
Yeah.
But I mean, I would not be surprised if it's just like Brandon said, and like we finish recording, and like an hour later they drop it in a tweet, like it's like nothing. So there's that. But the next thing we had then there was E3 news, because we did have Nintendo up there. They made their E3 announcements. They're going at noon Eastern on the 12th, which is it's weird because usually that's the first day of E3, but this year it's the last day of E3, which I think is funny. So, Nintendo is doing theirs at 12, and like I said, they're doing like a 40-minute presentation, and then they're doing 3 hours of Treehouse afterwards.
Wow.
What else is coming up for E3? Sony's not doing anything at all.
All right.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, that Ubisoft's doing a showcase on Saturday.
Yep.
Next week. So, I think they said it's going to feature Rainbow Six. And they have a pre-show. It's going to have For Honor, Watch Dogs.
Interesting enough, Rainbow Six Siege got a DLSS update today on PC.
Yep.
Which makes me think something's coming.
Doom Eternal did too.
Yeah, but it has RTF coming. That was announced like yesterday.
Yeah.
But it makes me think that Rainbow Six Siege has something planned as well.
Possibly.
Could be. Let's see. Gearbox is doing a presentation on that Saturday as well, I guess. Sunday you got...
Oh, sorry. I was going to say, there's other things, because I'm looking at today's update for GeForce Experience, because I got that already. Doom Eternal, Red Dead Redemption 2, Icarus, and Rainbow Six Siege all are adding RTX technology to their games. So some of that's DLSS, some of that's actually like ray tracing, but all of that was announced May 31st, it looks like.
Okay.
Maybe
a couple days ago.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So we also got E3 wise Sunday, June 13th, Microsoft, Square Enix, and Warner Brothers, and 24 Entertainment are having presentations.
A24?
What?
Did you say A24?
No, 24 Entertainment and 24 Entertainment.
Okay, because A24 is a movie studio.
Yes, they are.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Oh, that's the Disco Elysium people.
Okay.
Wait, no? Wait, what the fuck is... Hold on. Yo, this is some kind of Chinese MMO.
Okay.
That's it. That's all I'm saying from them.
Sounds like it will be action-packed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm sure Microsoft will have a bit to show. Saying they got a new game from Eidos Montreal. Update on Platinum Games Babylon Fall. Close look at Life is Strange True Colors and Life is Strange Remastered, and details on Black Panther War for Wakanda expansion for Marvel Avengers. Super exciting.
Ooh.
Yeah, I'm sure.
And it says Monday, you got Capcom, Take-Two, Mythical Games, Freedom Games, Razer, and unannounced indie developers will have presentations through the day.
Devolver Digital, baby!
Capcom's got great Ace Attorney collection, Monster Hunter Stories 2, Resident Evil 4 for Oculus, and Pragmata on its release list. But supposedly they got more Ace Attorney and Resident Evil games in its plan. Take-Two is announced.
What day does this start on? I missed it, I'm sorry.
Saturday the 12th.
Okay.
It's a weird E3, because usually E3 kind of starts on Sunday.
It's like literally next week. Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So we can talk about our predictions next week. I guess.
Wow. All right. Yeah, that works.
I mean, it should be a decent show.
Yeah.
I'm expecting. People have been sitting on shit for the last year, so it's probably about to burst out like diarrhea.
Wow.
Yeah, very vivid.
Mm-hmm.
Description you need to have. Description you need. So, yeah, that's it. I don't remember if there's anything else for E3, but that was the big thing. I mean, Nintendo announcing their time was the big news this week, and Sony announcing they're not coming definitively was the other news.
They did definitively announce they're not coming?
Yeah, definitively not doing anything. I guess I saw something that they might be doing a presentation around that time. Probably sometime in the month, but not during E3. Not for E3.
Okay.
Yeah, and it leads right into our next news, because supposedly that presentation is supposed to show off God of War. So, which is coming cross-gen. Super exciting.
Yeah.
Super
Shitty.
So they actually said that God of War, Horizon Forbidden West, and Gran Turismo 7 are all going to be cross-gen.
Which is absolutely garbage.
Yeah.
Well, why is it garbage?
All right,
I'll
explain to you. I'll explain to you. Okay. So, the way cross-gen works between Series X and PS5 is very different. You see, Series X Cross-gen titles are just the PS4 titles, I mean, not PS4 titles, the Xbox One titles or Xbox One X titles that are released. And then the hardware does all the legwork to get it to be beefed up and add the extra lens flare effects, HDR, yada yada, blah blah blah, add extra, make it a higher frame rate, that sort of thing. All that's done hardware side. On PS5, all that's done by a separate team. It's all done software side, aside from the extra hardware that they use while making the other software. And what that does is it really stretches the production, the cost, and everything out so much so that you have an inferior product than you would have if you just had the original, like a PS5 version of the game. And I get that they're doing it because people can't get PlayStation 5s. People can't get Series X's and that sort of thing. But I believe the PlayStation 5 as a whole is suffering because of it. You look at any cross-gen title that exists for PS5, and then you look at like PS5 exclusive titles, and you could tell a major difference in how it's utilizing the hardware compared to ones that are cross-gen titles.
But do we know which direction they're going?
Well, I mean, if it's on the PS4, then it's definitely going to be, we just made a PS5 version. It's just going to be the same thing as all the other games that they did.
Well, no, I'm saying, though, are you sure that they're not making it, their primary team's not making it for PS5 and the secondary team's not downporting it?
Well, it wouldn't matter because you're still stretching the production value between the two teams. You're still stretching the teams, very thin, and you're making them both have this stuff ready in time, which is putting stress on both teams, which is causing an inferior product because of the fact that you're developing two products at the same time, and you're stretching your production values and your team that's working on said production very thin, and as such, you're not going to have as good as something like, for instance, Ratchet and Clank. It is only a PS5 title. You look at that, you see it is using the SSD to the best of its absolute ability. You've got jumping into like portals and going to another entire world in that kind of game. You could see that the technology is being used to its fullest in something like that. Same with Returnal. You could see that the technology is being used to its fullest in something like that. You've got like no loading in between zones. You've got, again, portals where you're going into different worlds, that sort of thing. You've got high frame rate. You've got crazy HDR, that sort of deal. And in general, it's a better product. You look at something like Call of Duty, which is just, we up-resed it. Oh, it's a higher resolution. It's faster FPS.
Well,
we really skimped on the RTX features of it. We didn't care. I mean, like, fuck's sake, even something like Astro's Playroom is a better developed game than half the fucking cross-gen titles that we've gotten on PS5.
But there's a big difference in the comparison you're making. Hey, this is a first-party title. If somebody wants to throw resources at it to do it right, they can. Like, we haven't seen this game yet, so we don't know which direction it's going or what they're skipping on. So, I mean, it's definitely too early to get bent out of shape about it.
If you're having to make it for inferior hardware as well, you're going to make some concessions. And those concessions are going to
depends on how much money they want to put into it and how big of the teams they want to put into it. And if they're working backwards, the concessions would be on the PS4 version and not on the PS5 version. You're not going to use
the ideas that you would have, like, with, for instance, like I just said, with Ratchet and Clank. You're not going to have you're going to have your creativity stifled by the technology because you're making a game that's going to have to be potentially the same game for both systems. You can't make a vastly different game and use the hardware in a vastly different way than you would be able to if you were just making a PlayStation 5 title. And that's the point I'm trying to get at. They have to pull back their ideas. They have to not do everything they may want to do because they've also got to develop this for inferior hardware that can't do what the PS5 can do. Because you can't just be like, this is God of War Ragnarok, and this is PS5 God of War Ragnarok. We've got different locales and different worlds and different this, that, because then you're going to have a shit show. No one's going to be happy with that sort of thing. I know you're not suggesting that. That's the problem. because you are going to have those inferior worlds. You're going to have those inferior ideas used because your concession is going to be based on the fact that you also have to make sure this runs on last gen hardware. So you're not going to go to crazy lengths like they're doing with something like Ratchet and Clank or like they did with something like Returnal. You're not going to have those crazy lengths gone to because it's being developed also for the last gen hardware, and you've got to make sure that last gen hardware will be able to do what your ideas are. And because of that, it makes an inferior product every single time.
Nick, what were you going to say?
Well, what I was going to say was I agree with Brandon, is because, he's right. Ratchet and Clank could not, they said it themselves, Ratchet and Clank can't exist on anything outside of the PS5 hardware. So when making God of War, when making Gran Turismo, and making Horizon Forbidden West, you're definitely making a lot of design concessions because, you can't just down-res Ratchet and Clank and have it work on the PS4. It's not going to work right. So either you do one of two things. You either make an inferior product for your next-gen system and thus shafting all of your people who early adopted on your newer console, or you're making a significantly shittier version for the last generation that is nearly unplayable. So that's the problem.
Cyberpunk.
That's exactly the problem. You couldn't play Cyberpunk on PS4 and it barely worked good on PS5. So you really can't compare CD Projekt Red to Sony because Sony definitely has a lot more that they can throw at their games.
Oh yeah, obviously.
But the point still stands because I'll go by my own personal experience. Miles Morales is in no way a PS5 game. That game can exist off of the PS5.
Mm-hmm.
You have a little bit better lighting effects. Great, awesome, lovely. Yep. But it's completely a PS4 game. So my fear is that some of these newer games that we're gonna get are more so just gonna look like remastered PS4 games.
PS4 Pro too.
Instead of being refined and actual PS5 games using the PS5 hardware to its fullest, because you can't.
Mm-hmm.
So I see what you're saying about that, and that's my major concern. So now,
mine too.
I don't think watching the gameplay for Horizon Forbidden West, I don't think that game is going to run good on the PS4, and I think specifically too. They said it has to run on PS4 Pro. You can't run it on base PS4.
Ooh, that's spicy.
So you're fracturing that even more. So why even fucking bother?
Exactly. Why not just go all the way and just say fuck it? You haven't done this in the past with other systems. When it was PS4 time, they were like, we're making PS4 games now. Yeah, they still made the inferior versions, but those wouldn't release alongside sometimes. Or they would, but they would obviously be inferior versions. Now they're trying to have their cake and eat it too, and it's causing the people that are early adopters of the PlayStation 5 to be shafted. We just feel like we're not getting what we were told we were getting. I mean, Horizon Zero Dawn is 30 FPS. It's fucking 30 FPS. Why the fuck do I want to play a game that's 30 FPS on my PS5? That's fucking stupid.
We have 4K capable consoles now, and I'm buying a game for $70 on a next gen system that's not running next gen. That's ridiculous.
Exactly. That's insane.
So if anything, I'll buy the PS4 version and just pop it in my PS5, and it'll be exactly the same.
Let's at least see what they have to show for the game first, before we get too bent out of shape. Like I said, it might not be as bad. I mean, maybe they did have to make concessions, but maybe they didn't.
They absolutely did. Always. Technologically speaking, no matter what, they have to make concessions because they're making it for both consoles.
Yeah, because even if they make Horizon Forbidden West work on PS4, I guarantee you there were some ideas that they were like, hey, this is really cool.
But we can't use it because we got to make the PS4
dumb
version.
This down for the PS4.
Exactly.
It is impossible for us to dumb this down for the PS4, so we cannot do it.
That's exactly what I'm trying to say.
Although the good thing is, Brandon, I will say, is for both God of War and Horizon, they said that the decision to make it cross-generation was done very early on in development. So maybe
it was probably just going to be a dumbed-down up-res PS4 game to begin with. So when it comes to it, with those 3 games in particular, okay, well then they were never going to be anything to write home to begin with, and that even sucks. That sucks still. Even saying something like that really sucks. Yeah, because it means the thing that is on the box of my fucking PS5 wasn't planned to originally be a PS5 title.
Yeah,
fuck off.
Gran Turismo 7, they said recently was a decision to bring to the PS4, which is strange. But maybe they're doing this because for Gran Turismo 7, they're doing it because of the whole shortage of console supply.
Mm-hmm.
I can't say the same for Horizon and Horizon and God of War.
Yeah,
Because those
exactly.
games have been in development long before the pandemic started. Those aren't games that you finish in like 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. It's just a very interesting choice on their part, and I really hope that it's not just like a shittier version of a PS5 game on the PS4 or vice
Mm-hmm.
versa.
Yeah.
But from my experience with PS5 versions of games that I've played already, it seems like that's going to be the case.
Yeah, I own a lot of PlayStation 5 games.
Because I have Miles Morales and I have Sackboy, and both of those are PS4 games that you can play on PS5,
Mm-hmm.
and both of those games just seem like PS4 games that run better. Whereas, like, I'll
Yes.
play Astrobot, and that game feels, to me,
Like it was made for the
like it was made
PS5.
for the PS5.
Yeah,
But
it
there's
absolutely
also
was.
one important thing to note about both of those games too. They're both launch titles, which does make a difference.
I mean, all three of them are launch titles.
Well, no, but Astrobot was made just
Specifically
definitively
for
for
the PS4.
that.
Well, I know that's
Yeah.
what I'm trying. That's another thing we're trying
Yeah.
to say though. Like
But that's the
this
point, is, like,
game
they...
is one that was made for the PS5, and it feels like a game that was made for the PS5.
Yeah.
Then you look at these other games that are releasing on the PS5 at $70, and you're like, this doesn't feel as good as a free game I got with my system.
Yeah.
And that's our point that we're trying to get across.
Yeah.
I mean, I understand what you guys are saying, but I'm saying too, like with launch titles, like there is that like hard stop. Like this has to get out there. You know, they are gonna skimp a little bit on the resources just to make sure that like it gets out the door on time. You know what I'm saying? Like that cannot miss that day no matter what.
I get that, but like Astrobot, which is definitely a launch title, and Returnal, which is a launch window title, those games, after playing them, that are PS5 specific games, I could tell you those are PS5 specific games. Compared to any other game I've played on PS5, those feel like PlayStation 5 games. Other games I played don't feel like PlayStation 5 games. Like even Call of Duty, like your big name titles, like your AAA titles like Call of Duty or the new Outriders that was sold as a PlayStation 5 game initially. Neither of those games feel like PS5 games.
Yeah.
Well, we knew
just
Call of
don't-
Duty wasn't. Activision never dumps that much money into their stuff.
I'm aware of that. But I'm just
Yeah.
saying, like, when they do things like, oh, this is going to be the first one on next-gen consoles and blah, 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 and I'm just trying to say these big AAA producers that are trying to sell their games for $70 aren't selling games that are worth $70. That's my main point. And that's the issue that I feel is going to happen with Horizon as well as God of War. They're not going to be worth the $70 price tag.
Well, we'll see. Like I said, we'll see when they show them off. I'll be honest. Horizon, I could honestly see that one not being as good. But I would be surprised if they let God of War slip. But we'll see when they show it off. Like, you'll be able to tell the difference pretty quickly.
Like, the games that get patches or, like, get PS5 upgrades. Like, those games that I've played, because I've played quite a few of those, I'm going to be honest. They feel like an in-between. They don't feel quite as bad as just PS4 up-res titles, but they feel like an in-between thing. They don't feel like a PS5 game. They feel like a PS4 Pro 2, more or less. That sort of thing. And there's a lot of those titles, and now we're being told that like 3 flagship titles from Sony are going to be those kind of titles, and it's very like concerning when you're going to take your flagship titles and you're going to do that to them. Like, it really feels like they're kind of spitting in the face of the people that are early adopters. And I mean, I've kind of felt that way from the get-go for a while now. I really do firmly believe that I should have just bought a Series X instead, after having my PS5 for this long. There are titles that obviously I think are fantastic on it, such as Returnal, such as Astrobot Playroom, such as things like Demon Souls. All of those games are actually really fun. They're great. But then you've got other titles, you know, and they're just like, okay, well, that was a thing, you know? And it just... It feels like they don't give a shit about the people that have already bought into the next generation of...
If it makes you feel better, God of War 2 came out after the PS3 launched.
I don't know what that has to do with anything.
It's just them. Like, it's not like they have any. They don't necessarily feel the need, obviously, to make sure everything is available
Okay,
for.
all right,
the
and
system.
I get that, but you know what? God of War 2 didn't sell me a $70 version of God of War 2 that just happens to play on my PlayStation 3, and that's what they're going to be doing with Horizon Zero Dawn, and that's what they're going to be doing with God of War. They're going to be selling me a $70 version of a game that happens to now play on my PS5 that barely has any upgrades, and
You don't
that's
know
the
that
issue.
yet. We haven't seen it. We'll
We,
see when they show it.
I mean, we have seen
Sometime this
Horizon
month.
Zero Dawn.
No, I'm not talking about that Horizon Zone. I'm talking about God of War. I don't know why. I just don't care about Horizon Zero Dawn.
We're probably not going to see God of War this month because they actually just delayed it until like 2022.
That's true. They did announce that a few days ago, that it's delayed until 2022. So we might not see that until like later on at the end of the year.
Because it depends on what they're planning on showing. Supposedly they were planning on showing something this month. Sony does like to show their stuff off way too far in advance.
That's true.
So exhibit every single other first-party game that's ever come out.
Yeah, I mean,
looking at you, Last of Us 2.
Yeah. Oh God, we had to look at Last of Us 2 for so long, and then no one wanted to after release.
You know, actually, I think the worst thing is if they actually do. Let's say they push back God of War 2 and they do like the same kind of like Last of Us 2 thing where they, set a release date and then push it. If they get up to the end and then they cancel it for PlayStation 4, that actually would probably be like the worst. That would be like the death knell at that point, I think.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I think you're right. I do agree with you there. I don't think you should announce something and then be like, just kidding. That's kind of.
Well, no, the best was when they announced the release date for Last of Us 2, and then a week later we're like, nope.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that was also when the leaks came out.
Yeah.
So yeah.
But like I said, we'll see. I mean, I definitely don't disagree with your points. I mean, we've seen it happen before. I guess I'm just being optimistic. Sony has the money to put into it to make it right if they want to. The question is whether or not they're going
PlayStation 5,
to.
right?
No, because I don't care to.
Right, yeah, okay. You're not allowed to be optimistic because you don't own the thing that costs so much money and is also charging us $70 for games that are barely upgradable compared to the original PS4 Pro versions.
I'm allowed to be optimistic. I want them to give me a reason to buy it.
That's the reason why me and Nick aren't optimistic. That's the reason why you are. You aren't seeing the bullshit that we're being stuck with. Like, they're expecting us to pay more money for games that aren't really worth the price. And that's the issue there.
This is why I didn't buy one right away, because there's nothing compelling there. Nothing.
I mean,
there's
still
nothing compelling.
Yeah.
So, I said maybe they'll get there. But even if they do, well, when I say they, I mean both next-gen systems, because I feel the same about both of them right now. But, I mean, honestly, I'd still feel like I'd buy an Xbox before a PlayStation.
Honestly, you probably should. I look at like the things they're doing hardware like side for the Xbox Series X, and honestly it's way more impressive. Yes, they are just releasing those versions a lot like the PS4, Pro 2 PS5 sort of thing that we were just talking about. But here's the difference. The difference is the hardware scalability for the Series X is so much more sophisticated than the PlayStation 5. And it really does show, especially when you have things like injecting HDR into like Xbox original titles, and it actually works and it actually looks good. That's when I'm like, okay, all right, that's impressive. That's like you are essentially just a PC now, Mr. Xbox, and that's okay.
Well, and I definitely support Microsoft's push to keep their things available.
So, well, we actually had an issue with that recently. They've got some hidden DRM was found with the Series X. I don't exactly know all the details about it, but this came out a few days ago. When I know more about it, so I'll do some research on it, and then I'll talk about that next week after I read over some more info. But apparently, there's some hidden DRM in the Series X that essentially make it like how the Xbox One was originally going to be in certain cases. But I don't exactly understand what the caveats are or how it works. And I just saw quite a few people dissecting it and looking into it a few days ago. I haven't fully looked into it myself, so I don't feel like talking on it. I just know that there's some hidden DRM there for the Series X that's actually kind of awful.
Mm-hmm.
I guess we'll find out. I'm sure it will come out soon then. It's there. But at least forward facing, they're making it so you can play every game almost that's ever been available in the Xbox.
Oh, that's true. That is true.
ecosystem.
From that point of view, you're correct. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not talking about the system like lasting indefinitely. I don't think any of them will, but I'm saying like I appreciate the fact that they're putting the effort to make it so that their system can play anything they put out for the last 20 years. So that's pretty impressive.
Well, the Xbox original side of things is a bit hit and miss from what I've seen. Yeah, that is. There's a specific curated list, and I don't exactly know what the list is.
That list was still like what 75% of the games.
I'd say like 45.
Only 45% of them.
I think it was only like 45.
Oh, I think I'm thinking Xbox 360.
You're thinking of 360. Yeah, you're correct.
Yeah, but still, I mean, all the first party stuff was on there. I think.
Yes and no. It's hit and miss because like they originally did. So it's complicated because they originally did the emulation through Xbox 360 as a way of having backwards compatibility for the Xbox original, like the first ever Xbox. And that emulation had some kinks, and because of that, they kept taking and putting games onto that list based on what version of the system was out at that time. So there were some games that would totally work with no issue whatsoever, and then sometimes you'd have an update, and then boom, it didn't work anymore. Now, when they went over to the Xbox One, they curated the list even more so, and whittled it down to a smaller amount because of the fact that they had already gone through all those releases on the Xbox 360 and saw at the end of its lifespan what worked on the firmware and what didn't work on the firmware. And since they were essentially doing the same thing, they did that again. And now I don't have a Series X, so I can't just put in a disc and see what that list is now. But it seemed like each generation, it was more curated to make sure that they only had the games that you could play backwards compatible from the original Xbox that were the ones that like would 100% work and wouldn't crash your system and wouldn't run into save bugs or anything like that. So they were very curated because they wanted to be particular with what they allowed you to play, not because of licensing and this, that, and the other, but because of, playability, that sort of deal.
Okay. Yeah, it looks like the original Xbox was about 35 games.
Okay, so they've curated it down a lot now.
Which was a lot less than I thought it was.
Yeah.
It was a lot more than that. Whatever, it's still impressive.
I mean, yeah, it's still a decent amount of good games that are backwards compatible. But it's way fewer than it was before.
Yeah. Anyways, any other news stuff you guys want to talk about?
No, I think I'm good.
I'm all right.
All right, let's wrap it up. Thank you, everyone, for listening to us tonight. Don't forget you can find us on iTunes, Stitcher, Google, Amazon, whatever. We're everywhere. Leave us a review, share the podcast with a friend. We always appreciate it. And if you want to reach out to us, we're on Facebook, Twitter, or you can send us an email at gamecrunchcast@gmail.com. Brandon?
Yes?
Any final thoughts?
No, I'm good.
Right.
I mean, wait, hold on. I guess I'll do the same spiel I do every week. Stream every Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on twitch.tv, Kagato Asuka, Kagato Asuka. This week we are streaming the new PlayStation Plus games, and we're gonna look over those, because there's one that's a spy game where you play it in multiplayer with someone online, and you're both trying to solve some kind of mission as a spy, and one is the hacker and the other one's the actual on the field spy agent. And yeah, it looks pretty cool. It was the PS5 game for this month, so we're gonna check that out.
Nice.
And then I don't know what we're playing after that, but that's gonna be the first game we play. So there we go. That's it. That's all I wanted to say. Okay. Sorry.
Nick, you have any final thoughts?
Pepsi Blue's coming back.
I saw it today.
That's nasty.
I'm pretty sure it's already back. I saw it today.
Are you talking the stores?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I'm gonna buy it and throw up.
As you should.
I grabbed the Mountain Dew Frostbite instead.
You look like a Code Red guy to me.
Code Red's pretty good, but I like trying the new Mountain Dews when they release. So
I do try a bunch of those. Although my new jam, I love the mango Pepsi. I've been drinking that like crazy.
I haven't tried that. I saw that also yesterday.
Honestly, it just tastes like, I don't know if it's just I I drink Pepsi so much, I just don't taste Pepsi anymore. But it literally just tastes like mango soda to me. So I like it. I love mangoes. So
Nice.
Yeah, a new DLC for Minecraft just released. It's Ben 10 themed.
Oh, yeah.
Actually, just one little last snippet of trivia I saw. Apparently, Nintendo emailed out a survey to like random people asking if they would pay $50 for a new WarioWare game on the Switch.
I saw that too.
Yeah, so that might be coming. Maybe we'll see that at E3. Who knows?
I'll say if it's an actual WarioWare game and not just a DIY, yeah, I'd totally buy it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, we'll see soon. E3's around the corner. But with that said, my name is Mike Anastasia. You can find me online at Clash Penguin on Twitter or your favorite gaming console. And until next week, game on.
Game on.
I guess so. OC Josh wanted me to let you know that he wanted to come on to brag to you about he interviewed someone. Who was that?
Brag to me specifically or us?
Wow, to us as a podcast, but I looked up who it was, and it definitely wasn't towards me. So,
Okay.
Who was it?
Frieza?
Frieza?
Frieza.
Okay.
Like
Google it.
Like from Dragon Ball?
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
like the voice actor?
I don't know what he does. Don't ask so many questions, Nick. I don't know. I don't know who it is.
You. So if I Google Frieza, guess what I'm gonna get?
Yeah, Frieza from Dragon Ball.
Yeah, I don't know.
Did he
What's the
interview
name
the
of-
Japanese, the English, the Team 4-star?
What's the name of his podcast? Is that podcasting for
He
two?
sent me a link to it. Hold on. I'll send you the link to it.
All right, let's see this.
He's Chris, right?
Yeah, Chris.
Josh. I'm sorry.
Don't see Josh. Why would his
You're
name
right.
be Chris?
I thought it was casting for two. I don't know. I get.
Oh, he
confused.
interviewed Linda Young,
Oh,
Okay.
who's the voice. He says it's the voice of OG Frieza and Baba in GBC, Genkai in Yu Yu Hakusho, and
Nice.
Orly Yusika in Fairy Tail.
Okay.
That's TAI.
the way you attempted to. There was an attempt.
She does a character in Mushish. Oh, she did. She's the narrator in My Bride is a Mermaid. That's amazing.
Bruh,
Uh,
she is the little like witch girl that floats on the crystal ball in Dragon Ball. But no, she's
Yeah.
the original Frieza. That's what
Okay.
it's
I
up.
mean, that's like the biggest thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, no, she's also Genkai from Yu Yu Hakusho. Fucking Yu Yu Hakusho is the shit, my dude.
Yeah, I know, but Yu Yu Hakusho is better than Dragon Ball, but Dragon Ball is
Yes.
bigger. So.
Yes, correct.
Exactly my thoughts too. You guys just nailed it.
Yeah. Mhm.
She's Old Woman in Baccano, one of the best animes ever. Baccano's legitimately one of the best animes ever, but I don't remember Old Woman to save my life.
Well, Google it.
I'm on it right now, and I'm looking at the character, and I still don't remember this character from the show.